Good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's been a little while since I've done a stream, so it's about time. Been having a bit of a break and trying to catch up on alts. Was away at the weekend, and Bitcoin has basically been in a sort of 10-day, more than 10-day, 15-day sideways range pretty much. So I'm making a bit of a descending triangle here. So yeah, there hasn't been an awful lot to say on Bitcoin, and it's really just been taking scalps on the lower time frames and trying to sort of just figure out the confluence on the higher time frames. So I did a quick update in the Telegram channel yesterday, so if you haven't joined there, you should. It's kind of hard to do it in text form though, because there's so much going on at the moment on the lower time frames and the higher time frames. So just a quick summary of the higher time frame. We've got this monthly demand, which obviously we're holding, we wicked into. We've got the daily at the base here, which is my line in the sand for holding up this entire consolidation. So we really can't get below, can wick below here, but we can't sort of have a significant close below at least the 85 level or even 88 preferably. I'd want to see a bounce there if we get down to that point. At the moment, this monthly demand is still holding. So yeah, while it looks horrible and while it's fairly nasty to trade on the lower time frames, yeah, it's still okay for now. I'm not loving what the lower time frames are doing. So while Bitcoin sort of saved itself just from creating a 3-day supply yesterday, or the US dollar pair, should I say, on the Korea pair, we did create a 3-day supply. Hasn't quite tested it, and we also had a 2-day in there as well. The wick went up the day before, so it hasn't actually tested those levels yet. I was also wanting Korea to come down into this weekly zone, so we did get that bounce last week off there, but again didn't manage to break any supply, so it's still got daily supply in there and didn't manage to break any of it. Then we've also got this 2-day demand down here. So again, and the line in the sand holding up this whole consolidation is significantly lower, and I've talked in the past, you may remember, about the kimchi premium and that potentially being a top signal. So we do need to be careful of that. But yeah, so I said I wanted this Korea pair to potentially drift down into this 2-day zone. Just turn off my heating, it's a bit hot in here. Yeah, so we can see what happens on the higher time frame if it gets down into there. CME was closed for some of the day yesterday. It was confusing. Should have created, for some reason we don't have a Monday candle in there. So I think it should have created a daily supply, but you can only see it for some reason. It's got the 2 12-hour candles for Monday, but not a daily candle for some reason. So it did create a 12-hour in there, which is now what's being rejected here. We have the CME close the gap higher, which I was hoping would get hit on this move, but hasn't been hit so far. What else? Yeah, so at the moment we're just seeing this drift down. We managed to get a good short in there yesterday, and today I wanted higher. I wanted that gap close, so I guess we'll see. Just looking at the lower time frame, so yeah, just for the group I've been giving sort of scalps mostly through here, and just saying, like I was giving a bit of a commentary yesterday, depends how much time I have. So back from here, yeah, I wanted this 4-hour tested, and I said a few times when I did the update, the analysis, that I thought too many people wanted along there, and I thought it would come back and take it out. So with hindsight, it was pretty stupid here, but this had created, I don't think a daily, I think it was like daily demand from up here, but a 12-hour in here. So I kind of put this alert in very quickly for the 12-hour, and we did get a bit of a bounce off the actual level itself, but then I said so it looks kind of worse than it is, but I'd said in the chat that there were two 15-minute demands, or 10-minute I think, in here. So I was wanting to watch those. So it didn't get much of a bounce off those at all, and then came down lower. But as I said, from back here, I wanted it to take out this lower anyway. So with hindsight, like I said, it was a bit stupid, but it was based on there being a 12-hour demand there. Then nice short in there. This was a good long. It was a 30-minute zone, so it did take its sweet time. And it's something to be aware of for if you're scalping. Ether at this point, you know, when this hit here, Ether was still sort of like Ether tends to follow an equivalent structure, and Ether was much higher. So this then took a lot longer to come down and came down deeper in the zone, although it did hold it. It was all the way down here, and I think it's still holding that same zone actually before the bigger up move. At the highs, we've just been swing failing pretty much, so it's been hard too. So obviously we had a higher low here, so I didn't have a short for a lower high on there, and we did take out the high. And then a couple of days off over the weekend, so hence there's no entries in there. And then yesterday a nice 4-hour short into 1 hour long. And again, this one I was giving it a commentary on. I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, there was an hourly demand I think here, and it did eventually take out the low before the bounce. But when this hit, I was saying in the group, you know, be careful now because we've also created another 4-hour supply above. So we did eventually get a bounce, but after the swing failed, but then it rejected also a second time, and I threw in this one late last night, and similarly it got taken out for a swing failure. And I was obviously wary, having had 2 sort of swing fail previous zones, wary putting this current one in. However, we have there's a typical or common Monday-Tuesday setup that we see, where Monday makes its high and low, which is the previous day's high here and the previous day's low is here. And then Tuesday can come and take out the previous day low, and then go and you look for it to take out the previous day's high. So on that basis, I said it was worth looking again for the higher low here on the hourly demand, but I don't really like that it's still not getting through this 4-hour supply. On the daily, it's just messy. So like you can see, I've got the dark blue lines in there, which is the daily. So strictly, it's kind of messy to see. So let me just hide my drawings for now. That's pretty messy with the indicators, but like really because of this wick, this isn't even a strong supply, but that would be your most recent daily supply, this green candle here. And that's what's holding as resistance at the moment. It's then, you know, in here it made a daily supply, and then it flipped it back into a daily demand, and it's still essentially holding the daily demand with it running that red candle all the way down to the bottom, but obviously it's weak demand. There is no significant move away from the zone. And then now also we've made a more recent daily supply, so that's kind of what's rejecting now. And again, arguably for a range trade, it has played out because it's taken out the low that created the daily supply, which is this Sunday candle, and it's done it twice. So arguably that's played out anyway, but it's still just a bit of a challenging structure on the lower time frames. So yeah, hence just looking for the scalps on that for now. And so I'll see what this hourly does while I'm on the stream, if we can actually get a bounce from here. Hopefully it won't create a 2-hourly supply in there, in which case I would just say get out if you're looking at this. If you're looking at this now, just watch the lower time frames and see if this gives you a like 30-minute, 15-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute demands, if you can take a long up there. Then up here we've got the CME gap. So again, from on the short side, like while we did have this clear hourly supply and 15-minute inside the 4-hour, it was kind of a nice short there, but I haven't been looking at that detail. Or I considered it, but then because we've got the CME gap higher, I was like, okay, we'll wait until potentially higher for shorts. So we've got a 4-hour supply up here. We have left, you know, little trend line stops and double top here, so it's possible this kind of can run up and take out some of the stops. And then, as I've said, you know, we do have to remember we've still got this monthly demand, so this can still just run anytime it wants, really. Yeah, so if you can get into longs, that's what you should still be looking for now. But yeah, watch for shorts up there. And then again to the downside, we've got, this is like when I wanted this wick to come down, it didn't quite hit my alert, which was just below the wick, but I wanted it to come down to this 15-minute, I think 15-minute or 10-minute demand down there. And at the time, although I haven't checked since, we also did have some walls at 92k and 92,300, which I think I've written in the alert. So assuming those are still there, again, this can still wick through here. So be a bit careful of that if it does give the bigger drop at some stage. What else? I think that's about all I want to say on Bitcoin at the moment. Like I say, look, the macro is still bullish, obviously, with the monthly demand and then with that daily down the bottom. However, we are creating quite a lot of supply above, which is continually being rejected. Watch for if we get the bigger drop, then watch when Korea hits this two-day demand, because that could give a bounce. Particularly given we've just got wicks on the Bitcoin pair, on the US dollar pair, so it's harder to judge where we might land in this area. I haven't actually looked. Let me just look at where the fib is. So if we draw a fib from the bottom of the wick to the top of the first bounce up here, yeah, so we're still already in the 71 and 61 area. So again, 78, 88. So this is the area it's going to bounce, if it's going to bounce. But at the moment, like I say, it's not looking that promising, with local supply still holding. And for any, if you want to be more confident in longs, you're basically looking for a trend line break up here, even if it rejects the 4-hour supply in here. But actually, no, if it rejects this 2-hour up here, 2-day supply up here, but then you'll be looking for new demand to be formed to see if you can long on new demand. And yeah, from my previous updates, the higher time frame possible short entries, 2-day supply up here. I'm not sure what that is now. There's an 8-hour supply, but again, it was just taking out this the wick from the initial bounce into 3-day supply up to the 71 fib, and then possibly also taking out the highs up here. Yeah, so I think that's about all to say on Bitcoin at the moment. It's just messy on the low time frames, yeah. US dollar dominance, which obviously is the thing we're looking at for the inverse. This again it's not pretty, but it has created a 3-week demand. So it's starting to look more tenuous for Bitcoin right now. However, it's not the best, and it had a 2-week last week and it wicked down into there, and because it's got a gap on the 3-week, it's not ideal. So it would still be nice if we got a test into here, and that could still coincide with a new all-time high on Bitcoin, because this is mostly alts being horribly weak. I still wanted it down there in a perfect world, and we might get that. We've got this 2-month supply up here, so yeah, at the moment it's a tough one. We're still it's looking like a possible double bottom. It has taken out the lows from here, so it could come up and take out the highs above here, because we also just missed zones, the 3-month zone up here. This is my challenge. Like I don't like it when we just miss zones and then have a bigger move away, because it's hard to know if it doesn't move away fast, then it's possible at this point it could come up and take out the high again, although in this case it didn't. But once it's gone and taken out the low, then I'm not sure if this 3-month is then going to hold. But anyway, it could push all the way up here if this double bottom plays out. However, we still have this 2-month supply, which again the wick just missed. So again, are we going to get a retracement up into this 2-month supply, possibly to the weekly inside it, before the drop? Very possible. And then obviously that would likely mean that Bitcoin takes out the previous wick as well. On the lower time frames, we're in a 2-day supply here. We rejected it, but by then we've made a daily demand. So again, this is just still pushing, holding this daily demand at the base here. I would like to see it down in here. Watch out, if it takes the highs here. Again, that's something to keep an eye on, and the confluence with where Bitcoin is if it does that. So let's just have a quick look. So those. Yeah, so it's obviously that's the US dollar dominance pair looks like a double top at 4.68% here. However, those highs are these not double bottom wicks on Bitcoin. But again, if this does come up and take out those highs there, just see where Bitcoin is at the same time. And then also the confluence with that 2-day on Korea. So that's probably, the short-term dummies version is waiting to see if we can get a decent up move, which then flips some demand if you want to be confident for higher time frame longs. Other than that, we're short biased for now, whilst being conscious we're on high time frame demand. But yeah, it's kind of messy, so I would suggest actually, but you're probably better off sticking with trading alts at the moment, quite honestly. Ether. is another little bit more of a challenging one. So let's just start with the Korea pair. So the Korea pair has kind of bounced off this 4-hour demand here, and potentially holding this consolidation, the upper range, if that's a deviation, and back into the upper range. So it's possible this holds here, but again, my preference on this would have been if it was down in this 2-week zone, and and also there's a big gap here, so it could still go down much deeper into the zone. But that kind of would have been my preference for Ether. We had a decent up move yesterday, but it just got battered straight back down again. However, it does have a daily and 2-day demand in here now, so again, there's hope for Ether. It's starting to give a bit of hope. On the US dollar pair, so similarly to wanting that drop on Korea, on the US dollar pair, I actually kind of would have preferred down in this 61 fib area. So and down, potentially retesting this monthly level down here. There's a 5-day there, so it could retest one of these previous support levels. But I would have preferred an entry down on the 23 kind of level on this and retracing a lot more of this wick. So again, we just need to see if we're going to get that. We're still holding this high time frame trend line all the way from back down the bottom, so just by a hair. So I don't know if you can see that on the mess that's on my chart. This is supposed to be my high time frame chart with not so much information on it, but it still ends up getting very, very busy, particularly when we have the big moves. Okay, so on Ether, so we've still got this 2-day demand here, so it's, again, looking for this zone to hold. If you want to take longs, you can take longs here if you want, with the stop below that zone, and just see if we do get an up move straight from here. Other than that, looking lower. I think CME is pretty similar. So yeah, again, also created the demand. ETHBTC, so again, I've talked about this a few times. We were looking for bounces on the 3-month here. We got a small bounce but then died. We were looking for a bounce on the monthly here, and it just kind of consolidated around the level. Now we're back down on 2-month demand. I'll show you the higher time frame. So we're in this 2-month zone here. So again, could give an up move here. I mean, it's about time. ETH has been going down for since October 2022. Or if we look at the actual top, January 2022, so it's been going down for 3 years. So, there's hope here that we might get an up move, but, it's still very early days. Everybody's talked about up moves happening here, and we haven't got them. So, at this stage, and also the other thing is I was looking at ETHBTC yesterday, and it's like the waves just aren't clear, so it's quite unclear as to when I can say this has changed direction. So, even if I look at, let's say, look at the weekly, I mean, really the significant waves are on the weekly, are from there to there, retrace, and then what? This is the one that breaks the low to here, and then retest, very, very small retest, and now we've just had a big drop. And there's this consolidation in the middle that can act as resistance, but really that's your last down move, so it would have to break up here, which obviously is a lot higher, for it to be considered a reversal. Monthly supply, if we just go on the monthly and just look at supply, we had a drop, retest, drop, retest, drop. So I would still look at the monthly as probably a line in the sand. But then obviously again, you've still got to look at quite a big move for it to get up over there. So that's when we start looking at the lower time frames. And most immediately, we've got 2-3-day supply in here. Put my lines back on. In fact, no, there's a 4-day or a 5-day there as well. But we're still struggling to get through this, past this local 2-day, week 2-day because of the wick. But you can again watch here, like as this comes back into this 2-day demand here, like it's got a little bit lower it could go. Is it going to get another move up here and allow Ether to move more than BTC? So I guess we shall see on that. But again, so Ether, like BTC, is just very, very choppy. Low time frames again, I've just been looking at scalps. So Ether, okay, so back here we had this monthly zone, so I've got the 2 red arrows because we're saying this is a high time frame zone. I had said there was some potential weakness just because of the overall structure, and I might just quickly look at that again in case you're new to the stream in a minute. But yeah, we're looking again for this bounce on the 4-hour here again. Too many people, so was expecting a little push a little bit lower. I think it didn't quite hit the zone I wanted there, but came very, very close. I had the same issue here back on the 11th where we had a daily demand, got the initial bounce off the top, but then came deeper inside, but this held pretty well for next move up. Similar here, this is a 30-minute demand. Again, we got the alert went off, but it didn't quite hit the zone. It was the same time I think Bitcoin was waiting for it, when we mentioned earlier that Bitcoin was waiting. Sorry, yeah, well, Bitcoin hit the zone around this time. Ether still had a good few hours to get down there, and this was also a larger 8-hour zone. So it came off just the top of the 8-hour rather than going to the lower time frame inside. On the short side, it's just been too messy and too wicky here, so I did consider this hourly for a possible short yesterday, but I went with the daily just above, hoping it would just take out all of these stops rather than stopping, having taken out just a few. So again, the alert went yesterday for the short here, but didn't quite hit the level, and I've reset the alert should we get back up there. Similarly, today as of yesterday, we had a 12-hour demand and an 8-hour demand, so I looked for a long, or I called a long on the hourly in here, so that had a decent bounce, but again, can make a higher high, but not surprising because it's the first bounce, so it's come back down, made a lower low into the lower hourly demand, and now we're looking for if this is going to push. Unlike Bitcoin, so while Bitcoin I had this alert from today on this hourly here, I said in the commentary that Ether might hold this zone as well. However, because Ether hasn't taken out the Monday low, I'm still slightly more concerned about that, and also, but also because this had a 4-hour supply here, so I wasn't sure if this wasn't going to take us down, and obviously still can. And then there's two possible zones here. There's that 15-minute at the bottom of here, just taking out Monday's low, and to look for a swing failure into that level, or back into this 30-minute that was missed down here, because zones can often get revisited when they're just missed. And that would take out Thursday's low as well. However, would still retain the larger 2-day demand structure, and then this 8-hour that we traded for longs back in here, or in fact no, back here. So it still retains the higher lows, but allows it to come a bit lower into there. Obviously, if this does happen, then we're going to see Bitcoin is going to go lower at this stage. So I was hoping we would get more of a move off Ether here, but we didn't. And obviously the Ether-BTC pair is just still testing support. So those two things will probably come hand in hand. So again, just to show my inflammatory Ether analysis. Unfortunately, there is just too much on this chart. So I've got the so what we had here, what I was looking at is just the fractal. So we have an up move here, a retracement, the push up that we got from the ETFs, or the ETF announcement, retest of the low, held support, but then made a lower high before a bigger drop. So it's that fractal that I'm looking at. And then I overlaid that on the bigger picture here. So again, and it was what I was making, while this may or may not play out, let me just hide it again, what I was trying to, show is that this monthly demand here is not strong. So this monthly demand, which again, a lot of people wanted to long, and what we saw on a lot of the alt charts, this is not a strong demand because it was unable to make a higher high. It took a swing fail. We have a 2-month supply in here. It swing failed the 2-month supply, and therefore this is not a strong demand. And so the monthly demand to the left here is the one that is more important, and it's coming almost all the way down to the bottom of that. But that's what I was trying to show with this analysis, that while we may get a bounce here, that it was weaker. So going back to the drawings, if the similar fractal plays out, then I'm looking for a retest here for a possible bigger short. Yeah, structurally that's what I'm looking for at the moment. So, you know, unfortunately here is kind of messy. There are quite a few zones, and we've got a few CME gaps in here. So we had a 3-week supply, and then it's made a new weekly supply in there. There's 4 days, 3 days, it's just messy. So the obvious thing to do is to wait for the 61 fib, which is up just below where that 3-day is, and that would be the kind of the cleanest higher time frame. However, then you've got, you run the risk that we're going to go and take out some stops higher up here, up around, where's that, 34.50. And then there's a couple of untested zones even higher, but you're sort of looking for shorts from here. I did also add an alert that's on my lower time frame, so we've already got that that daily there that I've talked about a minute ago. I did also add an alert here, and I just put a question mark for the zone. So Ether has a tendency to reject before supply, and it didn't back on that previous fractal, but this is the 4-hour zone. I think it was a 4-hour that broke, that was holding as support before it broke. So I have, and there is, and that's also coincides with where that previous 2-month level is. So I have put an alert here just in case we get the like a more immediate rejection on this, rather than making it all the way up here if it's going to be very, like, particularly bearish. However, obviously the preference and the higher probability shorts are going to be from higher. So it's if we get the retest. And then my just I like to reshare my doubly inflammatory larger fractal is what I'm also conscious of is that while we have that smaller fractal here, then we've got the potential bigger version of it there if we get a bearish retest to pull this down. But then also we have the much bigger possibility where we've actually made a double top, and this is just part of this section of it. We come down into here and then we get the bigger retest and drop. And obviously nobody's going to like to see that. That would take us down quite nicely into monthly demand down here that wasn't tested though. So it's kind of an interesting thing to observe. And I like to keep it in my backup just in case, but that's probably going to happen in about 5 years. Although it is crypto, I guess it could also happen overnight. Yeah, so that's what we're potentially watching out for on the mid time frames on this. And then to the downside, obviously I've talked about potential for a long in that 61 to 70 area. I might just put a circle on that so we can see that. And then we've also got a 3-month demand down here that I've alerted along with a couple of CME gaps and things. So there's a 3-month demand if we get a drop that takes out that wick, which I do think will happen. It's just a question of whether we get that up move first. So that's pretty much it on Ether. The point of this stream was really to go over the alt list, the L's and the M's. So I don't want to do hours, and I've already done half an hour on Bitcoin. So I'll just do a very quick run through on the majors. Oh, actually, no, one thing I should look at quickly. Let me just have a look at before the alts. Where are we? Watch list. Just look at the others. Well, total's probably is going to look like Bitcoin, so I won't go into too much detail on these. But I should probably check. I haven't actually checked. So okay, so total did manage to create a 3-week supply and has rejected off that. So that's not ideal for Bitcoin. And obviously this came right back through the monthly already because alts are weaker. So this is not an ideal rejection here for Bitcoin. So again, just be very wary on the long side. You can take longs as scalps and then hold them and move your stop to break even, but I wouldn't be taking longs and targeting trillions at this stage. Like, I would want this in the bigger picture. I want this down lower really, but obviously Bitcoin can still go up for a more aggressive retest and or take out the high and have this consolidate a bit lower before the drop. Total 2 also has that 3-week supply and a 2-week in there as well. It hasn't come up to test it. However, this is total 2 is excluding Bitcoin, so it's more Ether focused. Does have this big monthly demand in here, which is hit, and obviously got that wick right down into the 2-month inside it. But again, just need to see probably a lot more consolidation on this, and that this create an annual. Kind of created an annual demand by a hair, but yeah, again, 3-week supply above there, so just be a little bit careful. Like at least we should probably get something like this, going up to test here, coming back down, and potentially moving into here before a move up, if it's going to move up. because we do have that possible double top on this. Total 3, I imagine, is pretty similar. So again, the possibility, I swear I've moved this line about 6 times, do have the possibility of double top on this, however has come back down into 3-month demand here. So just need to see a bit more if we're going to get more consolidation. Like if you've got longs on the low on that wick on alts or whatever, then that's fine, but need to see this come back down and if it's going to hold this level again or dip deeper inside. But again, also has 3-week supply on this and 2-week supply. Others is more the one I want to look at from an alt perspective. So again, I had this alerted for ages, as everybody's aware. Also, the possibility of double top didn't get the extra push. So this could still have another push up into, well, just to take out the high. I didn't necessarily have to reject in one of my boxes, but we are in 2 monthly demand. We have tested the monthly inside that and 3 weekly, but we just need to see a bit more in here again to see if we're going to get higher lows and if we're going to start breaking supply. And it's not great. And when I get to the majors, you'll see this. This is kind of what we're looking at. So one of the things on this, and I'll say this before I get to the majors, is, you know, we made new daily demands, and I've alerted some of them on the off chance that we're going to get a bounce and hold through here. However, we do have this very big wick. So I was saying, you know, not sure whether these daily demands will hold, particularly because they have, in this case, it hasn't even got through supply. So as you can see, we're drifting deep down into this. But I was mainly comparing to back here in April 2024. So again, we had similar here, we had this big wick, and then we got the initial bounce, and this is actually a bit stronger than that bounce that we got there, although we didn't have supply. And then it came back down, but it took out, so we would have had the similar here, new demand, which is taken out. So that's kind of similar to this. So I was wondering if we were going to get this running through here before, and you can see even with this, the whole bigger consolidation is only, you know, potentially going to be like that. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here. And the possible difference is that we're obviously at this stage on 2-month demand, whereas this wouldn't have had, it would have just had a weekly or something, or a couple of weeks in here. But yeah, so just be conscious of that. We're looking potentially, and again, is this like it might be a decent fib level? It probably came quite deep here. But yeah, don't be blindly longing everything on these daily demands. I think total DeFi is going to be the same. Doesn't have a 3-week supply in there. Did have a 2-week, so it came off the 2-week supply and has bounced down into 2-week demand, and then yeah, just need to see that follow up. So we just don't have enough information as yet. It's still very early days, having had a big drop like this. We need to see more consolidation through here, and or if we're going to go back for lower lows. And we haven't even really tested decent supply on this. So the bounces certainly aren't that strong because they haven't even quite come up to supply. Total DeFi is looking a little bit stronger than others there, but the problem is it might create a new daily supply in there, and others actually has already got a new daily supply in there. So I still don't think we're in a position to just be blindly longing alts. Like I say, if you've got them off the wick, that's great. BTC dominance, so we had this 6-month supply up here. This is like where I was really wanting that test. And then obviously it's dropped down off it. It's hit a monthly level there. I don't know if that's confirmed. No, it's not confirmed, but it's hit a monthly level. But again, you know, this has been in an uptrend since August 2022. And it's going to need some time to see if it's going to build or going to break some demand for the downtrend to be in place. But I think we're now certainly at a point on BTC dominance that we're looking, you know, we've hit a 6-month supply. Yes, it might come out and take that high again. Can still go higher inside the zone, but we're looking for, are we going to get a lower high on this firstly, and then are we going to break demand? So yeah, so new daily supply there and a daily demand here. So we're like, what's this going to do here is an interesting. And then, so if this now is going to turn bearish and fall down, you know, do we expect the money to flow to alts? So we can have a look quickly at Ether dominance. So we could see that flow into Ether dominance. So as I've said, you know, this is similar to the ETHBTC. Ether dominance is also on 2-month demand. Hasn't quite broken the 2-day supply on this. So again, you know, are we going to see the flow back into Ether dominance here? It's possible. Are we going to see the flow into others dominance? This I'm sort of possibly slightly more skeptical about. On the bigger picture for others dominance, you know, we've broken this major trend. I don't really like trend lines, so I'm going to delete that though. We had this annual demand here, but again, it's like, this is actually quite similar to the BTC picture with the big monthly that it's got there. But again, it's a second test here. Possible we've got the swing failure there, and again, that's what I'll get to that on alts. We're going to see that on probably quite a few of the alts. Sorry, just checking my stream's running okay. We've got a new, yeah, so potentially some of these alts are going to get the 2-month supply, and we actually, the alts kind of reflect the others dominance chart better than the others chart to some extent. This is a second hit on monthly demand, and the annual demand. It's possible it's going to swing fair and just straight up through here. Do I think that's very likely? Not really, but you never know. However, it's kind of a decent place to look to long alts, but you know, are we going to get that flow from BTC dominance into Ether and others, or is it going to flow into US dollar dominance? And that's the kind of real problem with this, is that as it stands, it looks like it's going to flow into US dollar dominance. And while we've got some time probably for that to happen, come back in testing, etc., I'm kind of not loving the look of it. I'm thinking that maybe we'll get some runs on alts first, and then the US dollar dominance kicking in. So that's kind of what I'd like to see when I think about all of this put together. You know, the fact that others, total DeFi, are on these like monthly zones, and while we could get some drift down before it happens, it is possible we get that drift down, we get a push up on US dollar tether dominance. US dollar dominance hits 2-month supply or somewhere inside that, then we get a bit of a run on alts, and then the whole thing just dies. But, you know, obviously both of those scenarios kind of assume that Bitcoin has hit near, like, if not the top, but near the top. Anyway, this is all speculation at this point. We're just trading zones as and when they get hit. So we'll see a little bit more on that in the coming weeks. So quickly on the majors, because yeah, so where are we up to? 40 minutes. Yeah, I want to get onto the other alts because that's the point of the stream. So obviously we've had big moves on Litecoin, and everyone's been like keen on trading Litecoin. Did hit this 2-month demand down here. I think unfortunately I had my alert very, very slightly lower, but I mean, obviously that would have been a knife catch wick anyway. So it's been hard to get into this unless you just FOMO'd on this daily in here. I've had my group asking me, so we came up into supply here, so I did have a possible short on this 4-day supply, which it's now gone through. I had my group asking me for sort of a more aggressive entry because I was saying I wanted entries back down here in the consolidation on daily demand or 12-hour. I think it's made a 12-hour and an 8-hour in there now. So I didn't actually alert it, but I did say, well, you can buy here on this daily demand if you want. So that did give a bit of an up move, took out the high, but obviously it hasn't gone significantly higher at this level. So you can watch and see if it continues to get consolidation through here. If we get a bit more sideways and a bit more consolidation, then maybe we will get the move up without this decent retest. We do now have this 3-week demand in here, so again, just keep an eye on this kind of area if you want to look for more aggressive longs. For me, I prefer longs on bigger retracements, so I'd be looking from this 8-hour demand and 61 fib on that. And then also just be conscious we're still in a range. We still have a trend line stops here, so we could still come back down towards the bottom of the range, and hence that lower entry that I had there, which was from the bigger picture now, is on the 61 to 70 fib from the full up move. So we'll have to see on that. Ripple, again, finally did move, was one of the slower ones to move, so again I have gone a more aggressive entry on this. What's that? It was a 3-day, so actually my alert is slightly higher because there's an 8-hour demand here, and then there's a 3-day, so again just looking in this area for longs on this, being conscious of the trend line stops. As I've said before, I do have an alert for this 5-day supply up here, which it hasn't quite reached, but again, being conscious of the fact that it might wick through to take trend line stops. And And in the bigger picture is obviously still, it's still bullish, but this can just be a distribution pattern. It's possible the distribution pattern takes out the high with 3 hits to the high before a bigger drop. So again, just trading scalps on the lower time frames in there. If we drop down, I've got this 3-day, and then we've got the annual below there that I previously talked about. BCH. I was hoping this would give me, I'm actually surprised this has given so little off that initial bounce compared to some of the other majors. We did come back down into 6-month demand, but we do have the previous hit on it, and it's taken out those lows. But so we've got a swing failure on this. However, it's weak and hasn't come back up through local supply, and is now in fact breaking down that local demand. Again, possibility we get a bounce somewhere in this area, so you can watch out for that. My next alert is if we come down to test this monthly down here. And again, from my previous updates, yeah, love the higher time frame on this. The whole thing is coming from an annual supply, so it's possible it just breaks down here from here entirely. But the next alert is on that monthly demand. Just be conscious again, trend line stops through here that could get wicked through. So we had those trend line stops that I want to break on the first wick, but then we've also got a whole lot more through here. So this is a bit of a risky monthly, and then we've got this weekly down the bottom if it does kind of come through and take all those stops. So that's BCH, and then on to the short side. So again, the higher time frame on this challenging because we've got the annual supply. So I've gone with a more conservative short, and also all these the zone through here was already tested. 3-week supply, 2-week supply. I think the 3-week was tested in there, and the 2-week was tested. So we know it's also just hard here because we've got this sort of choppy mess in the middle, and we're going to see some of them are going to reject here and some of them are going to run through. So I think with this one, because we had the swing failure here and because we've still got 6-month demand, I was slightly more conservative on the short on that. EOS has just hit, so as I said, I put some alerts on these daily demands in here. So EOS I've had for a while actually. EOS did get through supply, so, but also unfortunately it's had a bit too much consolidation before getting back down for this retest. Like really, you probably would have wanted it to test on this candle. So again, not sure if this is going to hold here. Don't necessarily think it's particularly high probability. So can wait till lower on that potentially. And this I've been more aggressive on the short, just on 4 or 5 day supply in there. Did also get the short off the 3-week up here before, and overall it's in 3-month, I think in 6-month supply as well. So my bias on this remains down. The bigger picture is still very much down, despite the fact that we've had a very strong move at the end of last year. So that's the old majors. New majors. So, wow. Okay, start with BNB. So BNB obviously was one of the strongest of the majors of this bounce. It did hit a yearly level, so that's not surprising. And that was obviously a very significant move up, and we had 3-month demand with the yearly inside. Hasn't come back for a retest, and I didn't have any short entries on this other than potentially just noting when we get to all-time high just because of that yearly level. Excuse me. So now we're looking for the retest on this. 61.8 is at the same level as that little consolidation we had at the bottom, so can see if we get a long entry in here, and then else potentially look back at this yearly level if we do come all the way back down for a more aggressive retest. I did also throw in a new short entry for 4-hour supply up here, just because I thought it was worth watching, but I've just said, coming off the yearly demand, not sure if that's going to work, but it may give a scalp. LINC. So LINC, I haven't done anything either way on. I didn't put a long on this daily demand because we had made a weekly supply here, and you can see it's just tapping into this level, and didn't even get an aggressive retest from that. So I haven't added anything new on this, I think, since my last update. The wick there just slightly front ran the 6-month zone there, so in this I actually would like back down in this 6-month. Let's see what I put in the comment. Yeah, and then there's 1 month and 2-week inside, so initially you'd be looking for a test on that 6-month, else potentially deeper inside the 6 months, so be conscious again, big zone might go deeper inside. LINC does actually have an annual demand as well though, so again, be aware of that. Only just by a hair, but it did close very slightly above that, so again, not overly short biased on this. Let's see where I put my short entries. So yeah, I did have short entry on that 4-day up there, but obviously it hasn't come anywhere near testing that. Conscious of the fact it's got an equal highs here, so we could go get a wick through that, and then there's also an untested daily above. So yeah, I might remove those if we get the test down here, but this, I really want that lower retest first. What else? ADA was slow, but has, then did pick up strength. So again, I was more bullish on this because again, hit into 6-month demand. Would like a retest back down on this 6-month and around these fibs. So this is definitely something that's worth watching back in this area. Either the 6-month level, or if it retests, I think there's a daily. So yeah, there's a daily here. So you'll be looking just around this type of area for possible long re-entries. That's coming back through local demand now. Yeah, so I did also again put a daily demand possible entry on that. So again, just because this has hit the 6-month, just in case it's going to show some strength off here, no short entries on this just because of the chop. Like, well, we do have 3-week and 2-week supply there, and I don't think they've been tested in this case. No, so you'd have to be aware that we might grind to a halt in this area. However, because it's 6-month demand, I've just stuck with a much more conservative short on this, like if we make a higher high. And then finally, Pol. I'm thinking about remove Pol. Like, I haven't heard anybody talk about this, and these are supposed to be the majors and the coins that people are more interested in. So I'm tempted to replace this with Doggy Coin, Doge. So this alert's just gone off while I've been talking. I had an alert set on the 8-hour on this trend line break, so the 8 hours unfortunately just closed, so it's closed all the way down here, so obviously that wouldn't have been a decent short entry, or the short entry would have been too late. We now do have 12-hour, 8-hour and 4-hour supply up here, so I have put in an entry or an alert here, which I was doing just earlier, for a possible retest of that 4-hour supply. So we see if we can get another short entry from there to potentially take this lower. If it runs all the way down, I will take that out because I don't think it's necessarily a particularly good one. It was just a trend line retest entry. And then, as I said, like from the historic chart, we've got a weekly demand here that we've just missed on the test there. We've got a 3-day significantly lower. And again, obviously the bounce on Pol's been weak, so I did have actually a supposedly aggressive short entry on the first 2-day supply. So this is a challenge on a lot of alts that we have, 2-day supply, we've got 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, weekly, 2-week, 3-week in there, and then we've got these 5 days up here, and in some cases, some alts have tested these all the way down, others haven't, and I've had a few of these alerts hit already, and they're kind of mixed, like some are working, some are not working. But it's quite hard to know, if you're suddenly going to get a move like this, which is just going to take out any local supply, which you kind of look at the structure in this and think that might be the case. But then it's not always the case, sometimes we do just get moves like this before a bigger drop, which is kind of how Pol's looking at the moment. So yeah, I'm more biased to shorts on Pol locally, and the others just watching. Hi Abby. And Sol was a success story of this week. So this has now created a 2-week supply in here. I put an aggressive short on this because it was the only major it had created a 4-day supply and then had a 12-hour inside it. So I put an aggressive short on that. When that hit back on last Thursday, and that's had a really good move off that. I've also added, this one might be too aggressive, but I have added a new short entry on those as a 2-day supply and a 3-day inside there. This could be too aggressive. We do have an annual demand on this as well. So while the lower time frames are still down, again, this can just pump at any moment if it wants. My preference would be for that to happen off the 2-month demand down here though. So we'll see if this dips lower. Oh, the only other thing on this actually, so I did miss this. Hi Abby, yes, I can see your chats. Let me just reply in. I'm just replying. I think you're like 30 seconds behind on the chat. So yes, I can see your chat. You did an emoji. I can't see what the emoji is though. Is that Tom Hanks? Anyway, yeah, so Sol did come back down into this 2-week demand and it hadn't quite tapped on that previous wick. So we could get a move up from here. Not a level I hadn't alerted, you know, it's also a 12-hour demand inside. So you can look for longs now on Sol, I think, and then just be wary of this zone as it comes back to test into there. Else potentially down there. So that's the Sol analysis. So near we had this daily demand hit alert today, and it's gone through it. So again, just a bit too aggressive. So I was hoping, and again, like near, to be honest, I think I was much more bearish on this anyway, because it's in a monthly demand, but it's had multiple tests. It's had a lower high, so I expect probably to take out the monthly demand and go down into this zone 3 months down there. So that probably was too aggressive, but as I've said, you know, I kind of put, there was a 3-day in there as well, not a good 3-day, but a 3-day. So I kind of put just for observational purposes, but yeah, near's not looking great off that zone. And again, the short side, I think I'd put 3-week supply up there because it hadn't tested it on this previous wick. But again, as you can see, this looks similar to what I said a minute ago. There's 2-day supply, then weekly supply, then 5-day supply. I am from the UK originally. I lived in Australia for 20 odd years, and I now live in Portugal. That's my checkered history. Atom similar here, so I had an aggressive alert on daily demand and it really just didn't get anywhere at all. So none of these are really getting the push, so we just pushed up into the 12-hour supply, so at least gave a chance to get out of break even, but is now dipping deeper. Again, are we going to get a test back in here? You can watch the 3-week level, weekly level, these 2 levels for possible retests to get your longs, but I'm still like back compared to April. I just don't know if we're going to get a similar consolidation to this before a bigger drop. But it really is just scalps here at the moment on Atom. If we get a short 4-day supply up there, and again, there's some real loads of chop through that 2-week and 3-week zone, so we could get run through in favour of one of the upper zones. So again, you can see the trend line stops through there. Nice to meet you too, Abby. That's that, and DOT is basically the same, I think. So DOT, also actually DOT I was more bearish on this than on NEAR. Again, it's just in that giant consolidation on the higher time frame, but you know, it's come right to the bottom of demand there, so I really expect this to go back down to the new demand coming off the lower high. I do have YouTube. I should be streaming both on YouTube and Twitch at the same time right now, and yeah, so assuming it's working, since I virtually always have technical issues when I'm doing this, I need a new computer. Okay, so this on DOT I put a more aggressive short alert on daily supply. Obviously just got missed on that wick, unfortunately, but yeah, worth watching. Just I think I wanted to just have one aggressive short entry on that. So anyway, I've done far too much. It's nearly an hour and I haven't even started the L's and M's yet. But all of these do look very, very similar. So you can see that virtually all of these on here are L's and M's. Currently, because I set a bunch of alerts yesterday, which loads got hit overnight. My YouTube link is, I believe it's Elisa's charts. But you should be able, I think you should be able to find me. I'll send you, I don't know if I have a link right now. Hold on, maybe I can find at least a link to the stream. Here we go. There you go. That's a link to the stream anyway, so you can find my channel from that. I think it's Elisa's Charts, the channel as opposed to Elisa Crypto, but I can't remember now. Okay, so L's and M's virtually all look pretty much the same. They all look fairly hideous, but potentially these new demand retest, so I put in a bunch just to watch, and we'll see. But let me start at L3, and I'll try and go through these as quickly as I can. For the most part, I think there was one in here I shared in the group, like MEMFI, that might be vaguely interesting on the long side, but virtually all of them I would be looking for shorts. Hi Kamar, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Don't know how you can explain to me how to pronounce your name over text either. Kamar, is Kamar right? I'm very well, thank you. I'm about to lose my voice though, and I quite fancy a cigarette, so I'll have a cigarette before I start these L's and M's. Okay, so, and some water. So, L3, I'm annoyed with this one. This is me failing to break out trade. I'm terrible at breakout trading, by the way. I only ever trade like zones. I much prefer retests, which is why I was saying when I did Litecoin a minute ago, I didn't want to put an aggressive entry on Litecoin, because it seems like every time I do, it all goes horribly wrong. So this one I quite liked when we were up here. So I did have, you can see I had an entry on the daily demand there, but it did get a move up, but obviously didn't break out, which is kind of what I was wanting. I was liking that. I didn't like the trend line stops on it, but it had already taken out some of them, so I was really hoping this would get a push to take out the highs. Unfortunately, it did not. Yeah, so my bias on this is still pretty mixed. We are on a monthly demand, but it has also tested it already here. Unfortunately, also all the zones all the way up pretty much got tested, except you can see now that one down there didn't. And I don't like to put a second test on if a zone's already been tested, or particularly on a round. I'll put it on if it's an immediate test versus a rounded retest. But I don't like to put a second test, so I was like, well, while I've got a cross here, I haven't actually put the entry in. That's where we had a previous entry for a long on that, which obviously had a really good move off it. But yeah, my bias on this is still kind of all over the place, so I just want to watch it a bit more. Like, we still have this monthly demand. However, we've also now got 2 weekly supply, so I put some shorts on the 2 week yesterday, so we got the initial test and then the test off the daily inside it, but obviously still needs to break some demand. But also I've got a long entry for a possible long here based on the fact we have the monthly demand below. So you can see my bias is pretty mixed on this. It's entirely possible that we get a move off here higher in the zone, or this monthly plays out and we get just a big move up. Or alternatively, we're now starting to reverse. This does look like this distribution. It's taken a lot of the stops, sure, but it could be distribution, bearish retest, and a drop. So yeah, indecision on L3. But those are kind of the levels. Well, actually, there's no real levels I'm watching on this. Obviously, you can watch all-time high for if it does want to break out, for a breakout retest trade. Else back down here. So this, I think, is a 3 week demand, but like I say, I didn't alert it because of the mess. And then there's a daily inside. Sorry, just reading the chat. Cheap viewers on stream view. Good to know. Well, so I've got to get. There's no point kind of having viewers who don't want to view you though. So I don't really see why I should buy viewers. If people want to view, they can view. And yes, it is tough managing ideas, shooting and editing. Kamar, you have $1,000. Please tell me which coin you want to deposit. Well, that's not an easy question, but as I go through some of these, I'll see if there's something for you. Okay, so moving on. Ladies, I'm going to stick to the higher time frames on these. So, as I've already said, so I thought I turned the heating off now. I wonder I'm boiling to death. So as I've already said, like we do have like the challenge that. And I think this is not the ideal one. So these, but I'll just give the generic. The wicks of these lows for most alts are either in a monthly demand, like high time frame demands, or they're swing fails of major lows from previously. If they're swing fails or in high time frame demands, then the challenge is, again, are we just going to make a low here? We've got this retest and we're just going to go straight back up again. So that's a possibility. But it's very early to say that. You can see on the weekly chart, yes, we've got a nice bullish candle, but we need some retest. We need to see something. And again, the challenge, because it's crypto, is the something can just be a giant wick and the continuing move without any opportunity for a re-entry. Then on top of that, the other challenge we have is that we have a lot of supply above, and they are all variable. But a lot, we have the monthly at the top here, and some cases this is in a bigger 6 month or whatever from there. Sorry, I'm just reading Abby's messages. Yeah, so we have this monthly up here. We had a monthly in here, and a lot of the alts have swing failed through that, closed back below. So at the moment, I'm still looking for the possibilities of this monthly level back in, that if we've got this monthly supply, it's a midway monthly supply, so it wasn't necessarily a strong one, but if we've got the break below, swing fail, close back below it, that when we come back and test this zone, we're going to get another drop. And we already see that on ladies, to be fair, like this is already closed back below it, it's already retested, but a lot of the alts we don't have that on yet. In addition, we've got 3 week supply, and in this case it hasn't been tested on the 3 week. We've got a 2 week supply inside there which has been tested. We've got a weekly supply which in this case hasn't been tested. So in this case I have put an alert for that weekly and 3 week supply. But then again, in a lot of cases we've got the 3 week has been, oh sorry, the weekly has been tested, but the 3 week hasn't been tested. So it's hard to know if this is going to reject when it comes back up, particularly in the case of if it's coming from a higher time frame demand. In addition, on ladies, we have, and on a lot of the alts, we have a weekly above that hasn't been tested. So I'm not sure if we're going to do a similar thing to what we did here, where we take out a lot of the supply and then just barrel straight back down again. So it is possible that this runs through here to the upper supply that hasn't been tested. Then if you start going to the 5 day and 4 day, you can see a lot more of the chop. So in this case, we've got a 5 day there which was tested, 4 day that was tested. But so I can see either happening. You know, we could, if we do get like some momentum on this, just run straight through all of this. You know, there is a higher time frame structure that could say up. But again, until I see that, so yes, while I'm okay, you know, look for your longs if we make new demands down here. Sorry, I'm just reading Abby's message again. You specialize in Twitch channel customization. That's pretty nice. You can send me a PM about it and I'll chat to you after the stream. Okay, yeah, so it's possible we do run through all these zones all the way up to the top, but it's equally possible we just reject in there, and obviously you don't know until you see it. So as I've always said, you know, with all the alerts that I put in, you're looking for the reaction and then the lower time frame to give you some entry. And in some cases, you know, like this, it would be similar, like with crypto, because we have such little history. It's, you know, it's hard to know if, you know, if you're looking at this, for example, at this point in time, this is an immediate uptrend, but also a bigger downtrend. So I always put entries in both directions, just in case, and also because the market has to be supporting. I don't have Discord, no, I have Telegram. Well, I do have Discord, but I don't use it, so no. But my Telegram is my main crypto channel. Give me contact for my Telegram channel is Elisa's Charts. I think the link's on, the link is definitely on Twitch in the comments, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, come on, go and look at my YouTube, look at the channel, and like hopefully the Telegram link is in the commentary in the bio of the YouTube channel. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, those are the challenges. So again, just putting in entries as I see them. So I've got nothing on the long side on this. You know, it isn't a monthly demand, but obviously has wicked quite deep into it and also wicked right through the zone here. But you can look for retests around this area, so similar to all the other alts, draw your fib, see if you can get an entry on a 61 fib, and or, you know, if the daily is going to give something decent. But I'm sticking to the higher time frames for the alerts, and then we'll just see. But like I say, just be conscious when if we do get moves up, that we are likely, at least some of the alts are going to run through these zones, and we've already seen that in quite a few cases. This is the chart with the information on. So again, this is just ugly. This obviously didn't make a higher low. It has monthly, is that a monthly supply, 6 monthly supply up there is rejected on 6 monthly supply, so obviously there's no longs I want to put in there. That's just tap straight back up into it and dive straight off it, and that's why you really need to be conscious of your higher time frames. So on this I put an alert for, there's a 3-week, 2-week supply and then the monthly there, so I put an alert for that. It may or may not ever get back up there. So again, on all of these, like some of them I've done more or less conservative. Yes, I have Twitter, just Elisa_crypto is my Twitter. Yeah, so obviously, like some of these, you know, it may or may not get up there. You know, you might get an entry on the 3-day here. You might get something more immediate here. So any of these that are in significant down trends, these are actually, I think, the best to trade at the moment. You're just look for retests like this. If it makes a daily supply, 3-day supply, just short until you're wrong. So that's lat, not dissimilar. What that zone is in there, take that out. So again, 6-month supply. I think this has obviously hit quite a few times. That's back from a long time ago. So again, I've gone slightly more because I don't really like the lows on this. Like, yes, there's a double bottom there. Yes, it's in a 3-day demand, which for some reason isn't on my chart. But I expect probably this is going to take out the lows. But we'll see. But yeah, I have put a more aggressive alert on this for weekly supply, so even if we get a test up into that, you know, maybe we get the drop to take out the low after that. LAZIO I thought might run actually, because Juve run, and normally the football coins run together, but this is, you can see some nasty wicks there, some resistance in there of 1.4. Now somebody doesn't want it to get past that level. The other thing I should comment on all of these alts is that I've kind of put in the 3-day, 3-month, 2-month, 6 months in some cases, and 1 month supply levels, because a lot of them look like they're going to create 2-month supplies, and if that's the case, then I'm going to become a lot more bearish. But anyway, this for now, I put a short alert on 3-week supply up here, and we'll just see what happens when we get the test. LDO, I saw like a lot of people were trying to long this, and it's a bit of a tough one. So we are in, we're in a monthly demand here, but it's also made a 2-weekly supply above, so it's kind of just in a tight consolidation. But either way, I was kind of still, while it might be one of the more bullish charts, I was quite surprised everyone was longing it like where they were at that current price. So we've got stops under here running straight into monthly demand. So for me, what you're looking for, and this would be a nice trade if you get it, is drop down into this monthly demand, stop hunt those, close back inside this range, and then I'd look for an up move on this. But for now, with the 2-week supply, although it has wicked through, let me have a look at the 2-week quickly. Yeah, so it did have a 2-week supply and it's wicked back up through it. So to be fair, that's not really a valid supply anymore, but there is now a 3-day supply in there. So I'm still looking for this move down potentially into here, but that would be where I look for longs. I can see there's a new daily demand there, so maybe that would be an aggressive long entry if you really want to take it. But again, for me, it's down here is where I would look for longs on this. And I think I haven't put any shorts in just because it's nothing clear above. So I think if this does run, it could run. It does have decent demand. So worth watching. Lever. So this took out, I think, you know, obviously you would have wanted it to take out all those stops there. Whether it's going to hold is another matter. Obviously it's now looking for a retest. So given this has had this stop hunt, you can potentially look for longs back on a retest of this level. I might actually just throw an alert in there. Oh, I don't know if it's already tested it on a low time frame. Yeah, you can potentially look for a long entry on this 12-hour demand. If that is a genuine swing failure, then this could get a move from there. So let me just throw that in there. So again, similar to how I've said previous, get these wicks, get some consolidation before the next move, but then, you know, back up in, actually it was April that I was looking at. So in April, actually on this one, we did get this retested and then did get a significant move up. So there's just variable. We just need to see what the retests are going to give us. This is in fact about to hit another 12-hour demand just here. Anyway, I'm going too low time frame. Because of that swing failure, I've gone slightly more conservative on the short entries. You know, there's 3-week supply, 2-week supply as usual in here. However, you know, if it's taken stops from there, then it could take some stops. Could take stops throughout this whole consolidation and go all the way up to the top. But I would at least want it to take some local stops. Excuse me. Yeah, so I'd at least want it to take some local stops here, so we can potentially look for shorts on that 5-day supply that didn't quite get tested there. LINA. Another one in a fairly nasty downtrend now. Didn't quite create a 6-month supply, looking like it's going to create a 3-month and a 2-month. It already has a monthly supply in there, so more happy looking for aggressive shorts on that. So looking for shorts on a retest of this 3-week supply inside the monthly there. Obviously no longs. LISTA. So this has actually made a monthly and has rejected off it, so it's slightly dubious. However, I did also think it was potentially worth looking. There is a possibility, obviously, that this has taken out the low and it's a deviation and we get a retest and an up move. This is a kind of a risky demand entry, but so I put high risk on it. You know, it is coming off a monthly level, so be careful. You know, if it doesn't bounce there, just get out. But yeah, looking for possible long on here, high risk, and then possible shorts if it gets back up into this 3-week, 2-week supply up here. Kind of like this chart though, I don't know why, something about it. LOGX I know is something that I've has alerted today, so I alerted for the break of all-time low on this. I at the moment have the short entry that I had in from yesterday on 3-day supply up here. Might move that down if this creates a daily supply. So if this creates a daily supply here today, then I'd look for a retest short. Let me shift that down while I'm here. Look for an aggressive retest short, given the broken all-time low. LOKA. So this is similar to what I just said on LOGX as well. So LOKA obviously also has broken the low. It's made a monthly supply there. Just again for some reason. So yeah, I think of some of these I was a little bit reluctant to draw them in. I don't really like drawing supply where it has a gap between the candle and there's 2 candles pushing down, because it's just so that there's a lack of strength. It's still a monthly supply, but it's a lack of strength. So anyway, I put an alert for a short on the 3-week supply if it goes up into there. And this is sort of similar to what I just saw on LOGX, except this has closed without the daily supply. This is closed above, come back for a retest. Obviously it's not looking overly strong at the moment. It hasn't managed to get back past 3 local supply on this. 2-day in there. So yeah, it's rejected 2-day supply. So yeah, again, you can watch and see if this holds this 1000 level, but I wouldn't be overly confident. You know, if you're looking for that swing failure, the lows, you're looking for like real strength coming in fairly quickly off that level. LUCE. Yet another one that's looking pretty ugly. It's got a monthly supply in there already. It's going to probably create a 2-month. Had a weekly untested up there, but again, given we've just broken all-time, or potentially all-time low. Actually, I should probably check this. It's still all-time low. I kept the FTX charts just because they had some more history after FTX was gone. So again, more aggressive short entry on a retest of the 2-day supply in there, and I think there's also a 4-day, but again, if we get it. So on these types of things, you know, I'm looking for similar to this, you know, which, you know, at the point if it does get all the way back up there, it's possible it's reversed, so you then need to check what the new demand is, but, you know, at least that's a potential short, and it may or may not make a lower low at that point. LOOM. So this was just a really, damn, it's annoying when it puts the zones back that I've deleted. Let's take this entry off up here, because that's just a wasted entry, far too far from price. So this one, I think, yeah, I mean, I really didn't like this in here, and I think I put this supply in and then removed it, and then wasn't really sure. But so I've left it in as a 3-week as tentative, because I've said it's still annual demand. But in order to short here, I would like to see these lows taken out on more than a swing failure, and that's what I said at the beginning. Like, I don't love these that have come on a swing failure, because that means therefore it's possible that if that swing failure is valid, then we expect to take out the high of the move that caused it. So we would expect to take this out. So shorting here isn't necessarily wise if this is a swing failure. In the case of LOOM, we do have a lot more stops down here, so I actually would like to see this go lower first. Whether it goes up and tests that before coming lower, I don't know. But yeah, so those are the 2 entries I'd look at on LOOM. LPT, oh no, I've got the old Polo chart. So this isn't actually in a 3-month demand, so again might get a move from here. And this is again the challenge that, so we're in 3 months demand, we're in a monthly sit on top of that 3 month. Obviously it hasn't really got much of a bounce, but we just need to see, I need to see some daily demand or 12 hour or 8 hour or something formed in here for that move up. But again, I don't want to aggressively short something like this, even though it might give you a daily supply to short off, and in fact has rejected it. So again, being slightly more conservative on the short side on this 5-day up here, although there was a couple of 2 days beforehand. But yeah, when we're in this 3-month demand, don't really want to be shorting so immediately. Having said that, we are coming off 6-month supply. So, and again, so I think I should have said this for one of the earlier ones, you know, we've got a 6-month supply, you know, the higher time frame always wins. A 6-month supply, you know, this I really expect to break this low. However, it may not do that immediately. It does have a 3-month demand, it's already tested it, you know, so it's possible it comes back up here, tests the 3-month supply before dropping. So while I'm not, I'm macro bearish, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take longs in the interim. So we'll just see a little bit more of that, what that one gives us. Liquidity. I actually added this entry yesterday. It was one I hadn't had in before, and it's a monthly demand, so it hasn't quite hit this monthly demand, and it's inside of 6 months, so I think this is definitely a zone worth watching. So yeah, alert that for yourself. I've got a short here on the weekly supply above there, but if it does bounce off here, it's possible it just runs straight through that. You know, if the market is going to be strong, then that would be the time. But in a perfect world, you know, why I'm alerting both ways is we get a bounce here, we get a rejection there, we get a new entry potentially before a move up. But yeah, that's definitely worth watching. So liquidity. So Kamara, if you're still here, liquidity is probably one of the ones that I think is more interesting than any of the others. LRC. Another slightly challenging one, again 6-month supply, coming off 6-month supply. You know, I've been more conservative because I think if you look at the lower time frames on this, again, we've got tests all through here, and this 5 days been tested. So again, more conservative, equal highs here. So what I'd like to see on this potentially is this to take the low again, go into monthly demand or 6-month demand down here, and then go to move up and retest that monthly supply that swing failed at the high. LSK, LISC, we were trading this back in the day, so this annual supply, so I can't be anything but short bias on this. I expect this to take out the low. Haven't looked at entries on this for a while obviously, but there's 3-week, 2-week supply there. I think it hadn't been tested, so yeah, it would be nice if it gets a test of that. May or may not get up there. It does have a 4-day right before, so but again, that would be nice short entries if we get them, and we're looking to take out the lows. LTO. Just checking my streams again. Okay, so Ether, let me go back quickly to look at what Bitcoin must have broken that level then, yeah. Okay, so the level I talked about at the beginning. And now we're getting Ether coming into zone of interest here. Take out some of these levels. So pretty much what I said at the start of the stream, that wanted to see Ether take out Monday's low. God, I can see everything's now crashing, isn't it? So Bitcoin obviously not happy, wasn't happy about that long entry, it's just too aggressive. I think the other thing I didn't say, I can't remember, is that there were a lot of liquidations down here that I thought it could go for. But we'll see. Can't get them all right, but so Ether now is in zone of interest, first zone of interest, the 15-minute demand here, and then I had this 30-minute untested lower. So you can watch that for possibility of longs. I'll fix the fibs later. Okay, so LTO again has bounced off this 2-week at the bottom here or just above. My preference would be on this monthly demand now. Again, you know, it's lower highs. It's coming off 2-month supply at the high. It's retested in monthly supply. Did run through that, so it's stop hunted there. So it's stop hunted here. You know, it may or may not go down here, but again, it's got some equal lows down here. So I would like to see these taken out, and that would be a nicer entry for longs on LTO. And then short entry, I put on this 3-week supply up here. LUCE. So I think this is, yeah, one of the long entries that hit today, or like just actually the alert's gone, but it hasn't actually hit the level yet. With any of these long entries, just be conscious of what new supply has been created as well, because if they hit after some consolidation and a bit later, so here obviously we've made a 3-day supply which is rejected, so therefore, you know, trying to long off a 12-hour demand right below it possibly isn't the wisest plan. But again, you can just keep an eye on them and see what they give you. But yeah, this would be 12-hour, I know there's 8-hour, and then there's a 12-hour below, so anywhere in this area. I think I quite like this because of the fact it could swing fail the lows there. But yeah, I don't love that it's got 3-day supply immediately above now. But yeah, anyway, if we get a move from here, that would be the next short entry up on 4 to 5-day supply up there. LUMIA, another one that's just ugly looking going down. I put an alert on the 2-month supply up there, but similar to others that I've talked about, you know, we've got 3-day, 4-day, various things throughout, so any of these could get the rejection if you're looking for retests. You can also, you know, once we know where the bottom is, you can run fibs and see what's decent zones. That would be the log scale, and the linear scale tends to be higher, but the log scale, you know, if this drops down to here, then maybe my entry is great for the 61 fib. But anyway, you can look for aggressive shorts on this if you want. I'm just not putting in that aggressively. LUNA 2. Is LUNA 2 the same as LUNA 1? Obviously, I'm guessing it is because I haven't got entries on it. Yeah. Okay, so LUNA obviously now starting to look ugly like everything else, not surprising, coming off 6-month supply here. And also I think it's below an annual level that it had here. So pretty bearish looking. If we get a retest, 3-week supply up here would be where I'd be looking for shorts. There's nothing that you can really long on this because we just have this giant wick going down below. LUNC. 6-month supply, and again it's gone quite high up inside it. I put the alert on the weekly or 3-week, 2-week in there, just again because it's got the swing fail here, so it could push higher, but does have 5-day, 4-day right below that, and is also rejecting off a 3-day now. I don't know, this might be another one that's worth putting a possible long entry. Yeah, I think maybe I mulled this over, so because we're coming off the monthly level there, because we dropped back below, it's not quite off the monthly level. I'm going to stick another alert on that just to see. So another possible long entry if we get down here. At least on the plus side it's a little bit further away, so Bitcoin's going to take everything down a bit more now, then this has a bit more space. So again, you can see there's a lot of chop through here, so hard to know exactly where we might reject on retests. Fairly certain I've lost some lines on these. MAGA. and other ones just like in a fairly ugly downtrend. I think it's pretty much following Trump, even though it wasn't. It was one of the predecessors to Trump, hence why it's been around a lot longer. Monthly supply, if we get back up there, we'll look for a short. I think this is the same MAGA, yeah, that's the MEXC. So that's running on MEXC, that one. Magic, again, had a 3-day demand, so I kind of put a possible long alert in there. And again, based on the fact that we may have a swing failure this low, but it could well be too aggressive. So I'm expecting at least some of these to be too aggressive, and even if we don't make a lower low, that we're going to get down below these consolidations before moving up. This has a 3-month supply up above, or actually now it hasn't confirmed the 3-month, but does have a monthly. Yeah, it's a monthly, but a messy monthly. So again, the short alert is just in this 3-week supply, a little bit higher. Major, another ugly MEXC chart, but again, possibility of a retest. So at this point, you're just looking for, are we going to get another higher low? So that, it had the bounce, it had a higher low, it's come back up into supply. Are we going to get another higher low? The trend is still down. If we're rejecting in supply, then I don't expect this to hold, and that's why you have to wait for confirmation on these entries. MANA, it's about the same as Magic. Another MANA chart. So another pretty messy chart. So yeah, I think when I was looking at this, and I've talked in my previous videos about these just sideways consolidations, and some of them we are really now seeing breaking down, and they are coming off, most cases, monthly supply. So in this case, this hit a weekly supply, didn't quite hit the monthly. I think we've had 2 alerts there, which have just got missed. Short alert on 3-week supply here, if it gets tested, and then possible long alert on the weekly demand down here, but preferably probably lower. This is just a more aggressive long alert. Yeah, just a sideways range, and when again, so we've had 3 hits on this weekly demand. So sure, it might hold. It can hold, a 4th or 5th hit, but once you start getting over 3 hits, it's got a lower low each time. But again, taking stops from the lows, taking stops from the highs, it's just a sideways range. So I wouldn't be shorting this right here. But I also don't want a long because there's just too many hits on the zone. MANEKI, I think it's another ugly one. Yeah, so similar. I've definitely lost. For some reason, I'm losing all my icons, but I do have the save and layout thing selected, so I'm not sure why. Weekly supply up here, but again, has the chop and the mess coming through here, so you can certainly look for more aggressive shorts on these things if you want to. MANTA, exactly the same scenario. So here we can see we've just we had a 3-day demand and it's just gone straight back through it, not one I had alerted. We can look and also on some of these, just watch the lower time frames and the local. So we've still got, I think, a few days until the 5-day, etc. 5-day, 4-day, 3-day new candles close. But again, if we create new 5-day supply, if this closes down here, then certainly you can look for more aggressive shorts than the ones I've got in. I've gone with a monthly supply up there for the short on the MANTA. MASA, this is one that we talk quite a lot about in group actually. So we had a weekly demand, and it's really why you need to wait. So we had a weekly demand and we talked about this, and some of the group that took longs in from the low. I think it was from here, just up for the immediate retest, but you can see that it's created a daily supply. So while it's in a weekly demand, until we get past some supply, hi investing ape, until we get past some supply, this is not, yes, while we're on a weekly demand, this is not a valid long until we get past some supply and start to see some demand hold. So this, since we actually were talking about this, and I think the group just traded this scalp here, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I look for in these alerts. You can trade the bigger picture. If you wanted a long in this weekly demand with your stop below the weekly demand, that's fine. If you start seeing that it's not getting through daily supply, do I think this info applies only to MASA or to all alts? All alts. This is a structural thing that when you're hitting a demand, you're looking for what your nearest supply is, and like hopefully if you're watching, you know, you watched the recent educational video I did on it, but you're looking at, you know, what's your structure, and you want to at least wait for it to break the nearest supply before you start being confident, you know. And again, I see so many people, you know, longing here without realizing it hasn't actually got past the local supply. And this is another one here. Yes, we are in a weekly demand. Yes, if you want to trade this with your stop below the weekly, that's fine. You can do that. However, until it gets past supply and negates this downtrend, this is still in a downtrend, and you can see like we'll be on the 8-hour chart now. Where's my brush? You know, that's your down move, that's your retracement, and then this is the bigger down move. But within this, we've got smaller waves, and that's your last down move. And you can see here it's come up and tested it, it hasn't gone past it. Here it's just swing failed it, hasn't gone past it. So this is still, so while you can long new demand here, you know, you could have tried there and you would have now been stopped out. You can long new demand if you want, but until you break your downtrend, this is not a valid long. However, it's in a weekly demand, so you should certainly be watching it, but the market has to be ready. So yeah, anyway, in this case, obviously it's not broken daily supply and it's tried twice, so I'm probably looking for lower on this now, and there's a 2-day a bit lower, just under this weekly, and again, some stops below there that it could go for. Another one that's challenging on the upside, you know, I put an alert on, I think 5-day supply in there, or is it, no, it's a 4-day supply. I've done that one, so again, so from a short perspective, it's in a bigger downtrend. This might be the start of an uptrend if it does hold a higher low here. However, you know, there's all these options. So if this is your new uptrend, then that's what you're expecting. If this is your downtrend, then that's what you're expecting. If we see a bounce here, then it's possible that that's starting. But again, we still need to see supply broken. And again, the most recent supply is this. This middle level is at the zone, you know, where you would have wanted a long entry if you were going to continue your longs. So this is a reasonable zone to look for a short entry if it gets retested. It probably isn't quite in a premium. The premium to short would be up here. But again, you're tossing up similar to here. You know, you had this downtrend. You can wait for up here for your shorts, but you know that gave you a perfectly valid short. Didn't get, in this case, you know, didn't get back down to demand, which is what you really would have wanted for the target. But again, did give you an entry, and it's perfect. You're perfectly fine to look for scalp shorts on the mid waves, but they're lower probability than waiting for the top or the bottom of a move. So that was MASA. Mask, I think I had, I think there was a monthly demand here, and I think I had a slightly more aggressive entry. Can't remember. 3 weeks, so I had a slightly more aggressive entry, so it has broken that and come back down deeper in the weekly zone. Again, we haven't hit annual supply up here, but we are coming off the monthly supply, so again, we're still in a sideways consolidation in the bigger downtrend. It's got a monthly demand at the lows, it's hit it once, it's unable to make a higher high, so I do expect to take out that low. Possible it comes into this 3 week. I don't like this big candle here, so I've gone slightly more conservative on the short alert, on the long alert, just at the bottom of this last up move. May or may not get all the way down there. And again, on the short side, we've got 3 week supply that was already tested, so I'm being slightly more conservative on the short side. But again, this is just sideways mess in the larger monthly downtrend. MAVIA, God, do you remember when everybody was so keen to long this up here and I was looking for shorts? Unfortunately, though, I did look for longs on the way down and it hasn't bounced on any of them. Not sure what history I have, if there's other history. Yeah, I think there was just, it's bounced, maybe we're going to get a move up into the weekly supply, which never happened. Here we're just looking for a higher low, and you know, not much from those. Now I made a monthly supply there, so that would be where I'm looking for shorts, and again, just one of the ones I'm sticking out on the more conservative side. I don't necessarily think it's going to get all the way back up there. And you can short on any of these zones in between if you want. Mav, similar to MAVIA. Okay, I've got some random levels on that one. Okay, yeah, so I've gone and looked at the history that's on charts.cointrader.pro on this, just to see. So, was a decent up move there, and then has now made a 3-month supply. It's rejected 3-month supply. It's made a new monthly supply. So again, could be not aggressive enough on the shorts. You know, that would be the open for the monthly supply, but I'm looking at the 3-week, 2-week inside that for possible short re-entries. No longs on this because obviously it's just going down. Max. Another yet another example of a significant downtrend. Monthly supply up here and 3-week supply, so I put that for a short entry, but again may not ever get it back up there, so you can look for immediate shorts on that. MBL. I think this was just, yeah, this was a really messy wiki chart that I don't really like very much, but I kind of put entries regardless. So again, 3-week supply here, but I don't really like the wicks. I think, you know, this certainly not something I would limit, but you know, if it does give an entry, it's going to give a quick move if it does hit it, because it does like to give wicks and quick moves. And then 2-week demand down there inside, and there's a yearly level on the gate chart in there, so that would be worth looking for bigger picture longs. But whether it's actually going to hold, I don't know. I have no idea what this coin is. I don't think I've ever heard anybody mention it. Sorry, just trying to put a trend line on this. And a double trend line. Don't really like that trend line much, but anyway. But yeah, so it's forming a descending triangle, so it may just fall off a cliff, but would be nice if it gives a wick down into this level. That's potentially a decent area to look for a long. And it is a yearly level, so if it does hit this before that, then this should be removed. I wouldn't be shorting that. MBOX, another epic downtrend, and this actually had an annual supply up there, so really nice shorts. I have put, you know, another alert for an annual, so actually I've deleted that alert, but there will be, if it does come and retest this annual level. I think it was a 6-month at the point it actually tested this, but yeah, if it does come back up there, that would be a decent area for a short. More aggressively, there's a 5-day and the usual 3-week in here. Again, on this, because of the possibility of it being a swing fail of the low, worth watching for a retest long here. I don't love this actually because it's very, very close to this monthly supply where it's rejected here. So if the monthly wants to play out, this may get run through. However, it also hasn't quite tested and it's left some stops above there. So maybe we get a bounce here that takes out the stops before. But yeah, anyway, the short is the bias on that. Anyway, MBX. MBX is not the same as MBOX, is it? I'm not just charting two of the same things. 2655, no, different prices. So MBX, so I have put in a more aggressive short entry on this. Made a 3-day supply in there, so if you get a retest of that level, worth looking for shorts. MDOGs also is one went earlier today, so another one that I put an aggressive entry on that. So like I say, it's always worth watching the aggressive entries, and these ones that have no demand, no support, you know, can really move, so worth an eye. Oh, long message on there. Hold on a sec, let me just finish this and I'll read what you're saying. Investing Ape. Okay, so yeah, 2-day supply, so a decent drop off that 2-day there. I'm just trying to retrace some of it now. Okay, let me just see what Investing Ape is saying. Do I ever use Telegram bots? I found a free crypto signals bot that told me whether short, long or wait. So you're trying to promote your crypto signals bot now. And you started paper trading, but was hoping to get a second opinion. If you're being legit, you can send it to me in Telegram and I'll have a look. Tells you to short, long or wait, depending on which currency you ask it. It sounds like is it one of the new AI trading bots? But you have to ask it for a currency, or does it actually give you proper signals? I don't know. Tell me. And yes, damn, that is a long message. Yeah, tell me. I don't know. So with that, I've looked at some of the AI trading bots. So what is it? No, Quant XBT. So if you look at the Telegram channel for Quant XBT, you can go in there, you can post it a chart, and it will give you analysis on the chart and tell you where support and resistance is and all that sort of stuff. However, the ones I've seen 2 or 3 people post different screenshots from things like that. The ones I've seen don't seem particularly good, quite honestly, like in at least some cases. And in fact, I think quite a few cases, though I haven't looked at loads, not a very large sample size, but in quite a few cases, they're putting their stop where I would enter. So I don't know if it's just, and I don't really know how they work, if they're done from, like, are they really doing their own analysis? Are they really AI? And I remember somebody explaining, I'm very non-tech on this stuff, but I remember somebody explained to me ages ago about technology and about machine learning versus AI, and that we still have a lot of like everything we're doing now is machine learning, but it's pretending to be AI, so it's not actually intelligent. So it's like, for example, if I get something to watch me chart, I get a computer to watch me chart, and I've definitely lost some of these alerts. I don't understand what's going on. If I get a machine to watch me chart, then it can find out, it can learn where I draw zones, how I draw zones, and like where my alerts are. But that's not really like, it's intelligent enough to be me, but that's also assuming I'm intelligent. Okay, so you're telling it tells you to type in the signal followed by whatever crypto pair you want to get the signal for. So for BTC, it's signal BTC. Yeah, it has. Yeah, that's the thing. It has AI in its name, but doesn't necessarily mean it is AI. It might be AIXBT. I think that's one of the ones that people are using. Is my voice really loud? I've just noticed my microphone keeps going right up to red. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like if you think it's accurate, if you're paper trading and you think it's accurate, then use it. Why not? But also, it's kind of lazy. Depends if you want to learn. Like, I enjoy this, so. But I would rather use my own signals than anything else. And the other thing with what you're saying as well is what time frame. Like, can you tell it the time frame? Because whether I tell you like something like this on, you know, the monthly chart. Let's say this is a monthly chart. Oh, I could go, oh look, we're in this my brush. We're in this giant consolidation on the monthly. Buy this and wait. And we could be here for like a year, and then go like that. And then I could be like, well, I was right. My Telegram is Elisa_crypto. So, yeah, what is it? Buy, hold, or wait on what time frame? Is it the 15-minute time frame, or is it the monthly time frame? Because that makes a very, very big difference. And whether it assumes you're scalping or whether it assumes you're swing trading, etc. You can tell it the time frame. But it checks only the 15-minute 1 hour. Yes, that would be for scalps rather than for holding. Anyway, I have to figure out now why this alert is still there, because I know I moved this yesterday. TradingView being annoying. Anyway, so hopefully all my alerts aren't in the wrong places now, although I guess I'm running through everything I did yesterday. So, back to this, MDT. So again, very, very long consolidation on here. Does have it's hit 2-month demand twice. It's got a 3-month demand below. Would prefer this to hit the 3-month, would be nice, although really this 2-month on the base is holding up this whole consolidation, similar to how I talk about Bitcoin. And a weekly supply there, so I put an alert for weekly supply if it does get a retest of there, and a possible alert for long on 3-month demand. Melania is just ugly, and I did put an aggressive short entry on 3-day supply there, because most of these I'm just saying continue downwards. Most of the Sol meme coins just currently are continuing downwards. I think this probably will get a bounce at some stage that will start to, wreck everybody who's shorted through here, but whether it's going to be, now, or whether it's going to go like another 90% down first, I don't know. But it'll probably take Trump and Melania to do something first. But yeah, in the short term, you can look for shorts on retest of that zone, or those zones. Not the highest probability zones. Let me see what MEMFI is doing, because this was the only one that I actually quite liked the look of yesterday. It was the only thing that actually is so decent move, like it was still, yeah. So my concern on this also was that we were still in 12-hour supply. So again, as I explained for MASA, if this is your down move, until we break, either here or here at least, that's your most recent 12-hour supply. Until we break that, we're still in a downtrend. So while we can retrace as much as we like, and that is still in a downtrend. So any long here is still high risk, but a possibility. I told the group to watch if this created a new daily demand, so I don't know if it did or not. No, so it didn't create a significant daily demand there anyway. Did create a 12-hour, it's come back through, but I said I was putting the alert more conservatively. But this, I think, is something that's worth watching. I don't know what it is, but you know, if we're going to get a resurgence of memes at some stage, worth watching. And I also did have a Fartcoin alert hit yesterday as well, so I wonder if this, you know, is a resurgence of memes incoming. So just keep an eye on that if it gets down there. At least it had a decent move up on Friday, but who knows whether it's going to continue. That's MemeFi. Meme itself is just horrible. So yet another one, a horrible one to add to the list. I put an alert here for a short on what's monthly. It's probably going to be a 2 monthly supply and a 3-week supply there if we get a retest. And as far as the bottom goes, it could go a long way down. MEL, go back up to higher time frame. MEL, another one, very ugly. So with these newer ones, it's quite, you know, they're not very exciting for me to chart, so I'm just saying they're ugly and they're going down. You know, what you also do need to do is go back and look at Dex Screener or charts.cointrader.pro to see if we have history here and if it's going to help you figure out where the bottom is. So this, I've gone, yeah, again, more aggressive alert for a short on the 4-day there if we get it. If it, you know, it does decide that this is the bottom and we're going to run through, then I would look at the weekly up here. This may be overly aggressive. I think I also want to look at this. I don't know how good 4 days are. 4 days tend to coincide with 2 days. So I guess, you know, even if people are only looking, 5 days I find are reliable. So there is a 5-day just above here if it wants to run through that zone. But does coincide, the 4 days do coincide with 2 days. So people do see it on 2 different time frames. This is also on a 2-day demand. So again, will it hold, won't it hold? Who knows? Metis. Interesting big trend line there. Look at the. Okay, yeah. So I've got my drawings on the next C chart, but the bigger picture trend line here. But again, what we're looking at not particularly strong demand, unable to make a new high, rejecting monthly supply, may make a triangle here. I mean, this, to be fair, like is it's got a possible deviation here, so this might get along in here. So let me see if I've actually put one on the other chart. Failing that, then you're looking at this monthly demand below. The problem we have here is obviously it's breaking this larger trend line, so people will see that as a possible short. But let me see if I put an alert at 14. Yeah, so I did. So I have alerted this zone on the basis that this could be a deviation and a retest. So you can again watch that as it comes into this area. If it comes into this area, it's currently on a weekly demand inside of 3 months. So, well, this actually doesn't look horrendous, but again, coming off a lower high, so it's a challenge. What do I think about SUI? I'll have a look after. I need to finish the M's first because that was kind of the point of the stream. Unfortunately, there's quite a lot of them, so you're going to have to wait. But SUI, I know hit an alert that I had for a short a couple of days ago. Pretty sure. So, but I'll have a look at it at the end if you're willing to wait, or you can come back later and watch the video and watch the last bit of the stream. So Metis, again, I was slightly more aggressive on the short side here because we've got sort of monthly, might have a 2 monthly supply in there, so just put it on the 5-day. Like I say, these are all just a mix, to reiterate. 3-week, 2-week, you know, it's choppy, it's messy, so I've either gone more aggressive or less aggressive, and then I'll just see what hits and what gives entries when they arrive. Me is another one that hit 12-hour demand today, so again, will it hold, won't it hold, just keep an eye on it. And shorts, if we get a retest at the 3-week supply up there. Mu is looking pretty ugly, so that's my MEXC chart, but got a bit more history on CoinEx. So again, I didn't want to be too aggressive in looking for shorts on this. This had already been tested when I looked at this yesterday. I don't know where this is going to bounce. You can look at these levels on a retest of that wick. Slightly more aggressive on the short side there because it coincides with what's likely to be 2-month, 1-month supply. So see what happens with Mu. Michi, another ugly one, and it's coming back through those local demands now. No reason particularly for it to hold. So yeah, the ones I've kind of shown already, you'll probably be very wary of because like I think I said in the group, I have just thrown them in quite randomly where they had a relatively clean looking demand. I kind of went right, but I haven't necessarily looked at whether they've broken supply or not in massive detail. So in this case, you know, obviously this haven't broken the daily supply, so therefore 3-day, 2-day demand is super weak, so it's come straight back through it. I put a short on the 3-day here. I've said it's more aggressive, and there's a 2-week higher. MENA, they really do look terrible, don't they? I think this is one of the ones, again, my indecision as to whether this is going to end as a swing failure or not, and again, you just need to watch it. So something worth keeping an eye on, you know, if it does come back down and holds this orange level, then you can potentially look for a very big move on this. We've got monthly supply in here, so I've gone for a short, again, in that choppy consolidation area in the middle, and we'll just see what the reaction is. But like I say, if it is going to swing fail here, then that could give a significant move up. MKR, another one of the slightly stronger ones, so hit 2-month demand down there. It's got a monthly supply, 2-weekly supply, and again, I would think I was slightly more conservative on this, so yeah, it's got a 5-day untested up there, so I've been more conservative on the short side here, and again, just looking for a higher low, if this comes back down for a retest. Again, it's just chop, and again, similar to everything else, so while this is a tad stronger, you know, again, we are only retesting the daily supply from the last drop, so this can still make a lower low from here, but again, you can watch the lower time frames if you think this is going to give an entry, but you want a slow move down into here, and then the possibility of holding this daily demand there, but not something I'm going to alert. Unless I see, because the monthly supply is too close on this, so I don't necessarily think this is a high probability enough, but you can scalp, you know, if you want to get a test of either that lower daily demand that was just missed or a more aggressive test of the upper one. I wouldn't really recommend that because unless it breaks this daily supply, but also if it breaks this daily supply, it's going straight up into monthly, so yeah, I don't know, give that a bit of time. If you're not in all these things already, you now need to wait for the retest. MNT. This one I actually quite liked. This one I quite liked, but I couldn't find an entry, so I did want to come back to it. So it does have a 2-week supply. It has rejected that, but it's gone 3 times up into that, and it hasn't managed to work. It's had this wick down, but then it's come and retested really strongly. So this might consolidate and then continue to break. So I do want to keep an eye on this, but it's still under supply, so we do, you know, it's got a 2-day demand in there. It's not clean enough yet. I just kind of wanted to see, I've got the line floating there because I think I was up and down. Do I put a long entry on this? The only difficulty with this is that, you know, we are still off a lower high, but whether this is gonna, you know, this does seem like it might be making a bullish consolidation. Bull flag for breakout. So if the market does get stronger, you can certainly watch that. But with supply where it is, I don't want to day down here. And then there's just choppy mess. There's a 3-day, so maybe I might be too conservative with this. You know, there is a 3-day here, and that weekly. So you could get a rounded retest of the weekly. I think it's worth watching this weekly actually, so I'll move that alert up a bit. 1 week demand. Save. So yeah, if it gets another drop down into this weekly demand, and then yeah, you've got a monthly lower if it is going to come down there. I'm not putting any shorts on this. I would have shorted this 2-week supply, but obviously that's already played out. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep an eye on this in case you get a breakout, but it's not giving it an easy entry at the moment. That's the other MNT. Mobile, another one that's just ugly. So it has rejected off 4-day supply in there, 4-day or 5-day here. It's breaking the low. If it swing fails here again, might be okay, but until we see it swing fail, we've got to assume it's breaking the low. I think I was a little bit, so this is a clean 3-week supply. No, weekly supply, 2-week, weekly. It's a clean weekly supply. but I didn't really love this wick all the way through it, so I don't know how reliable this is going to be, but I put alerted there so we can just see, because again this looks like it is going to break down, so potentially I'll be looking for a retest and then a further drop on this. Have an eye on X. Have I got my request on X? I don't know, I'll have a look at X later. Yeah, need to get through this right now. MOCA's another one that's worth watching, so monthly demand, and it's coming into that area now. It's probably going to have a 5-day supply above, so we still do have 3-day, yeah, so it's still obviously got supply above. But when this tests monthly demand, I think you should be definitely looking for long entries on this. Be conscious it can come down deeper inside, but yeah, that will be a nice potential long entry. And I've gone much more conservative on the short side on this, because if the monthly does play out, and this is a nice consolidation, if it takes out these lows and bounces hard off this monthly, that could actually have a nice move up. So MOCA should definitely be on your radar. MOG, I did actually have to go back to the other chart, so I've got more history on the BitGet chart here. So I've got the long entry back down on 3-week weekly demand down there. There is a monthly in here, but obviously it's come quite deep into it. But yeah, so you can keep an eye on this for possible immediate long entries, and I put a short up here on the 2-week supply on this. But so this is monthly demand, it's come down to the 2-week inside, so you know you want to see a higher low in here, and then this is a possible long. The only thing I don't like this is the prospect of it being an inverse head and shoulders. However, yeah, I don't want to be shorting this right now, so this could be, we could see that. But yeah, I just need to see if we're going to get a higher low in here, if Bitcoin's going to allow it. See, Abigail's saying I'm not sure why you're saying Mon, another ugly one, another one that's looking like it's going to break the low, and yeah, again, had a daily demand but isn't holding it, so I think I wanted to actually look at this one today, but this, you know, it's clinging on for dear life. But so you can keep an eye on this and see if it does want to start to move up, but at the moment that's not a buy. But if it does continue to hold this orange level, it might end up being one, but for the moment not. And then short entry on 2-month supply up there. I think 2 months isn't confirmed, but I'm assuming it will be by the time it gets up there. That's just another Mon chart. Mood Eng Ether, again another possible swing failure of there and the retest, but we just need to see more from this. Again, another one that, you know, if it's gonna, like, it could run all these stops, possible that it's made the low, so something also that's possibly worth watching. I put in a 5-day supply up here, alert for a possible short, and then we have 3-week supply. So it's come up and it's tested just the bottom of that 3 weeks. So again, I'm not going to be long biased right now, because that's still a rejection on the 3-week, which I'd be looking for a lower low. And there's no new daily demand in there. There is a kind of 12-hour that was tested, but yeah, my confidence isn't high on this due to that rejection there, a hard rejection on the 3-week supply. But again, you can watch for certain consolidation through here to see if we are going to get a move higher into the 3-week. But at the moment, the bias should be down based on that retest of the 3-week supply. Mood Eng US dollar. Got 2 charts for this as well. So for some reason I've got MEXC above. Yeah, so I'm basically using MEXC. I should put that note on. I'm going to start. Sometimes I forget that I've done this and then I chart things twice without realising. So yeah, we had a 4-hour demand here. Obviously we're running through it. I did put another alert here for 4-hour, 8-hour there. So obviously that's pretty high risk, but you can keep an eye on that if you get a retest there. And then to the short side, it's just gotten so much chop on this, so it's difficult. So I think I put the green cross there so I know that I've got an incoming long alert. But yeah, I just want to see the reaction on there. But there's too much chop here, and if we do have this much chop, there is a much higher chance that it's going to run straight through it, similar to what we had here. So keep an eye on it. If you can get in the long, great. If you can get in the long with a tight stop. So here, you know, it's tough because it didn't really give any opportunity before pumping. or maybe it did on the very low time frames, but yeah, I mean, you possibly could there, but really you would have been guessing because there was no, well, actually I guess there was support on the other chart. So here, yeah, there was a 4 hour in here at the time, so it was fine to enter there. So similar here, you know, you can watch the lower time frames, but at least it's got a defined entry and stop loss below the 8 hour. If it's going to reject, sorry, if it's going to fail. Morpho. So this is another one which I had an aggressive long entry in. It has a 3-day demand. It did have a rounded retest of it, but then also it hasn't got past local supply. But this is like overall one of the stronger charts. That wasn't an ideal long entry though, I have to say. You know, we're not on a significant demand. So you're looking for this stuff when it's happening on a significant demand. So this obviously isn't, this is floating in midair and not on any significant demand. So whether or not this holds, I don't know. It's already, the alert's already gone out, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, be careful if you're in that one. And then I've looked short entry potentially on 5-day supply up above. Mother, another one that's just dying now. I mean, you can potentially look for longs as and when we retest this low. So I might alert that. All-time low. See if we get a swing failure or a stop hunt there if it gets down there. And again here we've got, you know, monthly 2-month supply and a 2 week there, so I've just put the alert on the 2 week. So I think you can probably see from running through all of these like what this mess here is that I'm talking about. And I have put a mix, but I am trying to put, there is some judgment behind it. So in this case, for example, I put, you know, there's a 5-day and then there's a 2 week, but it's at the point we broke this support. So there's a chance here, if it retests it will reject. Or it's a higher chance than, you know, if it rejects one of these other levels. Even here, you know, there's a monthly level there, and it's just tapped into that monthly level before the rejection, just after the long entry. So it's possible it rejects here because that would have been where my previous long was. But yeah, so there is some method in the madness, but you know, if you want to be safe, then you're looking at the top of these drops, so the high time frame supply right at the top, and these ones in the middle are more risky. Move, another ugly one, again, just got a retest of daily supply here and is dropping. My alert's at 5-day above. Mover. Another choppy mess here. I don't know why I've selected that, but I guess because I have, I'll leave it. There's a 5-day supply or something in there for 4-day, 5-day supply. Okay, we do have a bit of a drop from there, but this would mean it's taken out a couple of 2 days to get there. This has hit a weekly demand down here, so again, worth looking for the possible higher low. It's had a decent move away from this zone, so it's possible that we get a bounce here on the daily, so we'll see. Failing that, then I'd be looking at this 3 week down below, and or like I've said previously, any sort of retest of levels inside there. Only a few left now, thankfully. This is lots to do, the M's and the N's all in one go. Okay, so it's another kind of a sideways move, just held up by a sort of a 2 week consolidation, a 2 week demand here with a second test on it. I expect this to go down to the yearly level below. Like, that isn't a zone that I would particularly think is going to hold. Unable to make a higher high twice, and this second bounce is now rejected off 2 month supply, so I expect this low to be taken out here. And I would look for a short on the 3 week supply if we get the retest through there. Movie, another attractive down move. Monthly supply up here, and 2 week if you want to take those entries. I put a more aggressive entry on 4-day supply close to the price. Mumu similarly. This is made a weekly at the point of breakdown, so looking for a short there. You know, if this fails, if this then flips to support, great, then you can just take a long all the way back up again. But for the moment, while it's got the weekly supply there, I'll be looking for the aggressive short entry. MVL, another wiki messy one. I had a long entry on this 5-day there, that's fine, but this is I think it's just too messy for me to want to put any short entries, and really it's just a sideways consolidation. So I need to see this either go up from here or break some support for looking for a new long, or for a short retest. So shorts have already retested. Yeah, you can see like this is daily supply, it's retested it, then it's made a 2 week, it's retested that, and the weekly inside, it's retested this 3 day inside. It's got this giant wick off retesting up here. So again, the wick taking out that high could mean we take out this low or these lows. So yeah, my bias is probably more short than this, but again, we're on a monthly demand, so I don't want to be too short biased. A monthly and a 3 month demand. Yeah, so we'll just see if we get a bit more. Actually, that hasn't quite hit that 5 day there. I think the alert would have gone, or is that a 4 day? I'm going to put that alert back in again. Didn't realise, so that alert would have gone off, but hasn't quite hit the level. So 4 day demand. Oh, can't type. 4 day demand. Look for swing failure. So at least the swing failure ones like make the entries actually slightly easier, because if it's going to come down here, it takes out that low, it closes back inside the range, gives you some demand, then you can look at it as a swing fail of that previous low and then go out to potentially take out these highs. MX is the MEXC coin, so similar to BNB but for MEXC. Would like an entry down here, however this is held 3 months demand here, so again this just needs some more time. We've got a 3 month demand, we've got an annual demand, so I had a really nice entry on the annual level. Or has it not tested? Excuse me, it hasn't tested it yet. Sorry, for some reason I thought I'd looked at that previously, but no. So we've got this weekly demand coinciding with the annual level, so very much looking for longs if we retest down here. However, at the moment is holding higher, so it's holding on this 3 month and has made a weekly inside, but again, just chopping between 2 week supply. Decent move off that weekly demand, but also 2 week supply. So I guess I have put, I put a short for this 3 day zone inside the 2 week. So I guess we'll see if we get that. Probably not ideal because we do have quite a few equal highs above here, so it might go up and take out that zone, or in fact it might even just be rejecting and not going to go back there now. But I need to see a bit more build up on that. But it's going to give them some nice sort of at least scalp entries to start off with. And our final two, I know, look pretty ugly. So we've got MYRO. I put an alert for all-time low. This is obviously looking like it's going to break down monthly demand. And in here, there's going to be a monthly supply. I deleted that too. So it's already made a monthly supply and rejected off it. And it's made a 2 month supply. Yeah, so it's made a 2 month supply and it's rejected off it. It potentially is going to make a new monthly supply around where I have the entry. We had a weekly in there which already tested. So again, just while I'm more bearish on this, I'm gonna while I'm more bearish on this, I'll wait for hopefully to get a test or confirmation of the new monthly supply and then a retest up here. In the short term, it's got an immediate 3 day supply, so if you want, you can look for breakdown here and then possible retest rejection of that 3 day supply before going for a new low. MYRO, very similar picture. So I had an alert here on the 3 week demand, but it's already come all the way through that. Alert for monthly supply if it gets back up there, although it's a long way away now. And then it's going to make it, it looks like it has made a 3 day supply here. So again, you can look at all-time low to see if that gives an entry. All-time low. So see if you get a swing failure and find support at that low if it gets down there. It is on a monthly demand though, to be fair, so yeah. So this could still hold. So while it's not looking great at the moment, this monthly demand could still hold. It's got a few wicks and it's not the ideal monthly demand. It's not great when it's made a 3 day supply above, but again, not something I'd look to short at immediate price. So what you would ideally want is this to hold somewhere in here and then to break that 3 day, and then you look for a long on the retest of the 3 day. But don't be shorting on this. Anyway, that is it. That is all the L's and all the M's, and I'm trying to remember now which ones I even liked. MEMFI was certainly one of them. just because it had a passing, like really, like the shows of I'm clutching at straws because we really had a passably large green candle on Friday, but just bigger than some of the other ones, but it's not really the ideal. MKR is nice, but again, I don't like this consolidation for entries. And I can't even remember, I'm going to have to run through them again and see if I can put together shorts for the ones I did actually like, but I don't think there were very many of them. There are a couple that are on these monthly demands. Yeah, Liquidity was one of them. But yeah, I'll run through later and I'll make shorts of the ones I do like, and I'll try and also highlight them in the timestamps when I do the updates of this live later. Okay, so Ape, I shouldn't call you just Ape. What is your Investing Ape? That's probably better. Sui. Okay, so that was nice. So I had a nice short entry on here. I'm trying to remember, did you come on stream previously and ask me to do Sui? I think so. I'm pretty sure somebody has asked me previously and I've done it for them. I don't know if this was a new entry since that, or whether this is something I placed at the time I last talked about it anyway. But yeah, so this did have a 3-day demand, and it's kind of coming right down to the bottom of it, but it shows how weak they are when they're coming off supply. But anyway, we've got a rejection here of 5-day supply. I also had another alert for the 2-day if it did push inside it. My preference for longs is not for a while. The wick didn't quite hit where I wanted it to get to. So again, looking for longs in this first instance on this 2-week demand, and then we've also got a 3-month, 2-month, and then a yearly level. So any of this whole area really, and it's going to be obviously fairly dependent on what Bitcoin's doing. I don't know if Bitcoin's like dumping in my stream because I keep seeing all these red candles. Yeah, so I guess it is dumping in my stream a little bit anyway. So yeah, okay, so we've got to take out of this low. So yet another stop hunt. Congratulations, Bitcoin. And finally taken out that 30-minute demand. So yeah, unfortunately my longs here haven't been particularly good the last couple of days. Ether's obviously in that first zone of interest that I talked about at the start of the stream, but then also there's a possibility of it going to this 30-minute. And then yeah, Bitcoin just not ideal on the long side today or yesterday. So, but this summit, to be fair, like depending on where your stop was, like those two probably could have given you scalps. They were just a little bit early, but then yeah, today's one has just rejected off that hourly supply. So again, when you're looking at these scalps and when I give them to you, it's actually made a 2-hour supply. So you've just got to look at what new supply and why it's difficult and why I don't like giving them on stream as well, because the people who follow me know how to trade these, but when you see an alert hit like that on an hourly demand and it's made a 2-hour supply before it's got back above it, then I'm looking for I'd be looking for getting a break even or getting out of that trade. This is still dying. It's looking like it's going to create a 4-hour supply. Actually, I've got a while to creating the 4-hour. We did also have an 8-hour. It's just messy. So there's nothing on 12 hours, so this is why I have to run through all the time frames. So we actually had an 8-hour supply in there, but it did obviously wick right through that back up into this 4-hour. It's likely to create a new 4-hour supply. Well, depending on what it does. It's got a couple of hours until it does that. Created a 2-hour, which is obviously projecting the price down now. So it's now looking like we're going to end up in this 15-minute down here. And Ether has taken out that immediate zone. Not quite yet, now it has, as I'm speaking. And then this was the possible, I'm going to move some fibs now. This was the possible second entry on Ether on this 30-minute, taking out that last low there. But yeah, it's just things are a bit messy. Anyway, I need to think those through a little bit more. We've got US dollar dominance now approaching those equal highs that I wanted, so I wouldn't be longing until that happens. And we've probably got, we've got Korea approaching this 2-day demand. So hoping Korea is going to give a bounce on this 2-day demand, and then maybe we're going to get a swing fail of this low on the CME, possible slight higher low on the US dollar pair. I don't know, but I do know longs are pretty risky at the moment. Anyway, I think I finished SUI. Yeah, like I say, that's my preference for longs back down here or on the yearly zone, and shorts on the 2-day supply if it gets a retest up here. There's a 2-week and a 2-day inside it, so but that was the aggressive short, so the aggressive shorts worked out pretty well on SUI. So now I'm getting an error on my thing saying my bit rate is too low. I think I've pretty much covered everything I want to cover anyway. Yeah, any questions, join my Telegram channel. Please like and subscribe if you're into this. And thank you to my new Twitch viewers. Feel free to like, subscribe and share so some people start watching Twitch occasionally. I will pray this stream is okay, although I haven't had any complaints, so maybe that area's only just come in, and I will sign off in case my stream is going dodgy, and I will be back hopefully tomorrow to do the N's and maybe the O's. I'm not sure how many N's there are. So have a good day, a good evening.